Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So another educational video. This one's a long overdue and much requested F-15C, very easy plane to fly in DCS, and it is a video about using the HUD and the different features of the HUD and using the weapons and how you use the weapons. So it's going to take a while. We'll go through it one by one. So sit back. First we will do the HUD. Now there may be a few little bits that I don't know, but as you know, I don't tend not to learn every single little tiny piece, but I learn to use the pieces which are important to me, or important to complete the mission. So stand by as we start with the HUD. So first of all, I'll turn the engine off if I can when I do the speaking to make it nice and quiet so we can concentrate. Here is the HUD. Up here it is like a holographic display that allows you to superimpose information over this piece of glass, so you can it basically is a lot easier than looking down at these dials and MFDs, and it can tell you all this information all at once in real time. Really useful. So what does it tell us? On the left hand side here we have speed. This is an IAS indicated airspeed. If you want to know more about speeds, we have a video about it in the educational section. So you can see the carrot is at 300. We're doing 300 knots airspeed at the moment. Where do we go next? Up here our heading. This is essentially a compass, so there's 0, there's 010, there's 350, and behind us back there would be 180, and so on. On the right here is our altitude. I'm pretty sure that is barometric ASL, so we're currently about 9,200 feet ASL. This 5 here and this 10 here and this -5 here are our pitch ladder. So if we were pointing, you can see this little W here, that is where our aircraft is actually pointing, and you can see it's just above 5, so we're about 6 degrees pitch at the moment. If it was down on the horizon line here it would be 0. If it's -5 here it would be a -5 degrees pitch. This little circle thing here is what I call our velocity vector. So that is, although that there is where the aircraft is pointing, that velocity vector is where the actual aircraft is going. Remember that just because an aircraft is pointing in a certain direction doesn't necessarily travel in that direction. In fact, it never actually does. There's always a difference in the two. So we're pointing up here, we're actually traveling there, and the difference between the two is our angle of attack. Then we've got this ladder gate here. Now I forget, I never use it. I think it's our angle of attack. Someone may need to correct me that. I may be wrong, but I always thought that was the angle of attack. So we've done all of that lot. Let's roll about a bit and have a look at that. So you can see when I roll, it shows essentially my roll by the angle of these ladder bars here. Okay. So up on our compass here we also have waypoints. That there I think is a waypoint we've got set there, that little down tick there. If I were to turn to the right too much, that waypoint would disappear off the side of the screen effectively, and I would have to turn back left to find it. We've got some navigation information here. Down here it tells you that we are currently in navigation mode 1. We're in navigation mode, and we've got I think that's waypoint 1 there selected. Down here it tells us I believe that's our distance to waypoint 1, so there's waypoint 1 there, and it's 15.8 nautical miles away. Down here is our prediction of time, current speed and current heading. We will take us 3 minutes to get to waypoint 1. You can change between waypoints with keys on the keyboard, but I don't have any more set up, so I shan't bother. That's down the bottom left here. We've got 11. That is, what's that? That is our G. So that is, we're pulling 1.1 Gs at the moment. So we've got a tiny bit of additional G. 1 G is just normal standing on the Earth. You're always subject to 1 G. 90. Completely forgotten what that is. Someone may need to remind me. From my memory, that is the maximum G the aircraft will allow you to pull. That's the limiter, I think, is set to 9G at the moment, and that can be reduced. I think if you put fuel tanks on, it reduces it down to 6G. Again, I don't pay much attention to it. Right, so that's that. Let's change to another navigation mode standby. So I just pressed the 1 key, and we've now got ILSN. ILS is a type of landing system. So it would be currently set up to a particular airport. That airport, we can tell, is 76.4 miles away. I'll do a video probably on this time on ILS at some point, but for the moment, it's just a method of landing and landing guidance. 76 miles away. This is how many minutes it's going to take to do those 76 miles at this speed. CSET, I don't know. Someone will have to tell me what CSET. I can't remember. Right, alpha warning. Let's see if we can get the alpha warning on the go. So if we look roughly about here, and we pull up, there we got it. So if we are just in a normal stable alpha of about, I don't know, 3 degrees, 4 degrees, 5 degrees, all normal alpha amounts, then it doesn't display anything. If we get to a high amount of alpha, which the aeroplane, in fact no aeroplane likes a high amount of alpha, it's very dangerous, then it will give you a warning. It's giving me a beep. You heard my beep. It's also come up here now. It's telling my angle of attack, which is the alpha. It's 28 degrees, and yep, our ladder here, our alpha ladder, is telling us 28 degrees. So we'll immediately rectify that so we don't die. There we go. Back down to a sensible level. Right, that's nav mode displaying. There may be a tiny bit more. There may be a bit more to it, but like I said, I just stick to the basics. So weapons, what have we got? Down here is our weapons selector or indicator panel. We've got an AIM 120 there, AIM 120 there, AIM 120, so C there, AIM 120B there, AIM 120B there, AIM 7 there, AIM 7 there, and some sidewinders there. So we've got we've got Fox 1 type missiles, Fox 2 type missiles, and Fox 3 type missiles. So why don't we start with Fox 3, shall we? And so what we're going to want to do is to change the HUD to a more suitable mode. In fact, why don't we do all the HUD modes first? So I've got my HUD mode changed to HUD, what we call HUD mode 2 or BVR mode, beyond visual range fighting. So this is what you want to use when you want to attack a target that is above 10 miles away from the aircraft. We can tell here that we've got the box around this item selected, which is the AIM 120C Fox 3 missile. So let's see what additional information we've got in the HUD. It's telling us here about our information about the missile. It says AIM 2C, so that means AIM 120C. No, it doesn't. Let me try that again. It means A, I think that means AMRAAM. C means the type of AMRAAM, that's Charlie. And 2 means the quantity of them. So I've got 2 AMRAAM Charlies. I'm pretty sure that's right. M, what does M mean? I've completely forgotten. Someone will have to remind me that as well. Now the HUD has gone into what I like to refer to as tactical mode now, so it's going to give us a little bit of different information. First of all, it's going to give us here a new number. This is our MAC number, very important for combat, and we're essentially in combat mode now. We're a MAC 4.87, and that will track. If I put my afterburners on, up it goes. There you go. And we've still got our G meter here, and we've still got, I think that's our limiter there, and I think if I do some maneuvers, we've still got our alpha warning on. Let's try that. Yep, you can see the alpha going up there. We don't have the alpha ladder gauge anymore for this because it's really only used for landing and slow maneuvers. We've still got some data here about ISLN, but it's not really relevant now that we're in BVR. You're not going to be landing. We don't really care about waypoints, but it does have waypoint information in there. So we're back on BVR mode now, and we've now changed to nav mode. So we can still do waypoints 1 minute away from waypoint when we are in BVR fighting mode. Right, so the next thing, let's try our next mode. 3, I think it's ball mode. Let's go and have a look. No, my mistake. It is vertical line mode or dogfight mode. So if you came within 10 miles of a target, you want to go to one of the dogfight modes. This is vertical line mode, vertical scan mode. So if you can see a line, vertical lines appeared up here. That means our radar is slewing itself, so it's now searching from about that point there and basically up that line and all the way up about 60 degrees. And that's because when you're essentially chasing a bad guy in a dogfight, that is where, almost as long as you're doing your job, that is where that target's going to be on your screen. It's going to be somewhere between here and there. And so that's why that's set like that. So all you need to do is have a hostile cross in front of that line, either there or kind of even further up here, and that will automatically lock on to that target and start going to give you information. We'll get close to a bad guy later on and show you that, but that's essentially how that works. Other than that, we've got the same information for the weapon, the MAC info, the G, and we've still got some nav info here. This nav info here will be replaced by target information when and if we lock a target up. Let's try the next mode. For bore sight mode, very similar to line mode. So instead of having to put the target somewhere on that line, we now have to put it in this little bore hole here. And when the target is inside that bore hole there, that's where the radar's focusing all its energy at this point. Then that will lock the target up then. And the same thing, we'll get target information then. And we'll be able to fire again, only within 10 miles. The BVR range one was above 10 miles. Okay, we don't have a mode 5 on an F-15. Do we have a mode 6? Let's have a look. Yes, what we call longitudinal aiming mode. So essentially, for the weapon it's selected, it's decided to select an aim 9. That is a Fox 2. So you hear that tone and that bore there. Basically, we're not using the radar of the aircraft anymore. We're now using, if I can turn around and find them, don't think I can see them, but we've got our aim 9s on this aircraft, and if you can look at the front of them, they have an infrared seeker head, an optical IR seeker head, and essentially that is now displaying what that seeker head of that missile sees. So what we have to do is fly around, find a target within close enough range for that IR seeker to detect its heat, get the aircraft so that it gets within that small bore there, at which point that Sidewinder seeker head will lock onto that target and you can shoot him down. That's longitudinal aiming mode. And now if I were to select a Fox, a radar guided missile, I've got a Fox 3 selected there, then it goes to what we call flood mode. Now I've never used flood mode, I never fully understood it, but my idea of flood mode is it's very unsophisticated. You get a big bore round here, you so flood mode is generally for when you can't see an enemy but you know roughly where he is. Say he's hidden in trees or something, you can't see him. You navigate yourself so that you believe he's in this circle here. You don't get a lock, but instead you just fire the missile and it fires off straight, and then it will lock onto anything it can find in this bore or flood mode basically. I may be slightly incorrect there. Like I said, I've never used flood mode. I don't find it particularly useful, but there you go. In my terms, it seems a good way of shooting down a friendly by accident, that kind of thing. So hence I stay away from it. Right, that's the HUD. There'll be a few more things that come up on the HUD, but we'll go through that as we go through the movie. Next, we're going to go back to BVR mode. We're going to hunt down an aeroplane and shoot it with missiles and see what happens. So stand by. Right, so we're on the hunt. We're going to turn our radar on. Now, this is our radar display. Now, we have a large, like 40-minute video just about using this radar because it's quite complicated, so I'm not going to go through it now. I'm just going to use it on my own terms. If you want to go and watch that video, it's in our educational section. It's called F-15 Pulse Doppler Radar or something like that, and then it will tell you all these all the buttons and switches and knobs and all the displays and stuff and tell you exactly what it does. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to use it. So stand by. I'm going to unpause and find a target I like the look of. I like him. I'm going to turn into him. There he is. You see I get that little box where he is. So unpause that now and have a little look. So what's changed now, I've got a lock. So I've got what we call an STT lock. I could also, excuse me, get a TWS lock. Again, that's explained in the proper movie, so I won't go through that now. I've gone through an STT solid lock now. There's a guy, the radar tells us this is about 40 miles away, slightly less. So what do we notice that's different? Well, first of all, it says aim Bravo. I've got an AIM 120 Bravo selected. I've got two of them, but it's now Lima Mike instead of Mike. Excuse me. What does Lima Mike mean? I'm not sure. I'm guessing the Lima now says I imagine it's because I've locked onto something. Hence that missile is locked, I imagine. These here are still the same. Nav information's gone. We've now got target information. We've now got the range from me to him as the crow flies of 35.1 nautical miles. We've also got a impact predictor. So if I were to fire that missile at that guy right now with everything as it is, speeds as it is, wind as it is, well, not wind, but everything else, it would take 48 seconds to get from me to hit him, which is quite a long way. H down here, I can't remember what that means, so someone will have to let me know. Right, so the next thing is, what do we got? A bit more ranging information here. This is ranging information. It's essentially our radar ladder there. Our radar maximum range is set to, scan mode is set to 80 miles. So there's the 80 there on our HUD. and there is us down at 0, and there is 40 miles, and here's our carrot. Next to our carrot is our closing speed indicator. That is 627. So basically I'm traveling at lots of knots, and he's traveling at lots of knots, so our closing speed is the combined speed that we're closing. It's very useful for calculating missile shots, and it's just very useful all around tactical information. Now I've forgotten whether that is indicated airspeed or ground speed or true airspeed, so someone will have to remind me. If I would imagine it would be ground speed. Again, may have that wrong, mainly correcting. Right, what else have we got? Right, the firing indicators. So basically, so 80 miles is too far away, we couldn't hit the target. 40 miles, too far away, we couldn't hit the target. 20 miles, too far away, couldn't hit the target. The computer has calculated at these speeds and whatnot, the closest we could hit the target is at this first big line here, and that's about 10 miles or something like that. So that's when we could possibly hit the target. And it calculates it based on our speed, our azimuth, his azimuth, our heights, all that kind of good stuff. The next bar down is the optimal firing range. That is when it calculates it has a 90% chance of hitting the target, even if the target is doing evasive maneuvers. So if you fired at the maximum range, the chances are you'll miss unless the hostile ran straight into the missile. The next one at the optimal firing range, if the guy does go evasive, then there's a 90% chance of hitting him still. So obviously it's much less. And then down here you've got 0. Actually down here, that one there is actually not 0, it's actually the minimum firing distance. Every missile has a minimum firing distance, especially a big, long, fast missile like an AIM-120 has a couple of miles minimum distance. So really you want to get it between that bar there and that bar there. As we get closer, we'll zoom the radar in, so this will become a lot more clear. Now, personally, I don't use any of this. I do my own calculations. I find my own calculations a lot more accurate than these F-15 calculations. But if you're a newbie, then stick to these. So, the last thing you want to be doing is mental arithmetic. Here's the box around the target. If it's an empty box, it means it's hostile. If it's a box with a cross through it, it means it's a friendly. That's how the IFF works on the F-15 HUD. Right, so let's carry on and fly at this guy. More information. Right, we've got a firing dot now because we're set up to fire at this guy. Firing and aiming dot there. We'll go through that a little more when we come to shoot our missile. We've also got a hostile aspect indicator. That's this thing that's appeared. It's a circle with dotted lines and a line coming off it. That's indicating the azimuth of the hostile. That's telling us he's coming this way, which essentially as an azimuth means he's coming towards us. If it was pointing up, it would mean he's flying away. Left, it would mean he's flying sideways, and so on. And this is crucial information. You have to know which aspect the plane is, because that determines how you're going to fire your missile. Because if he's flying to the left, you have to lead, give him plenty of lead. If you're flying behind, your range is hugely decreased, so it's absolutely essential information. I've just remembered what this is now. The H means hot. This line down here, the third line, is the aspect of the hostile. You can see he's flying at us, and the brevity for that is hot, H hot. If it was going to the side, it might say flanking or something like that. I can't remember on the F-15. We'll see as we go, essentially. Right, let's carry on, shall we? Let's zoom in our display. So the hostile is now 32 miles away. I've decreased the radar distance displayed to 40, and it's made everything a bit more clear. So we can see that the maximum firing range is 11 miles, the optimal firing range is 8 miles, and the minimum is about 1 mile. So let's put burners on and get a little bit closer. See our Mach increasing. See our combined speed increasing. Our indicated airspeed increasing. 27 miles, 31 seconds to impact. So this is out of interest. It's showing 16 left. The left means that it's not hot now. He means that it's flanking to the left. Now I'm going to find it really hard to explain this. No, I can do this. Right, so if it was saying 9 left, it would mean that he was going left from where we are at exactly 90 degrees to our path. So if he was going completely 90 degrees left, it would say 9 left. It's going 160 left, which means that essentially 180 degrees left would be coming directly on us hot. So he's now kind of 20 degrees to the left of being hot on us. That's the best way I can explain it. And if it was like 0 left, it would be directly away to us, or it would probably say C for cold, I imagine. Let's carry on. You see now we're now supersonic. 23 miles. If you're wondering why the range is so atrocious at the moment, why is it only 11 miles when all the books say that AMRAAMs can do 40 or 50 miles? Well, it's a mixture of things. It's the altitude, we're relatively low altitude. Also, it's the speed of the object that's coming towards us. This guy here coming towards us is it's like a tanker plane or something, and he's flying at like 150 knots. A lot of when you fire a missile, the missile burns away from us. It goes very fast, but still a lot of the distance that's travelled between the missile firing and the hostile getting hit is the actual hostile moving himself. And this guy's going very slow, hence why the range of this missile is very low. If that guy was travelling at Mach 2, the range marker would be right up here, 25 miles or 20 miles or something. So when you see something on Wikipedia and you read that an A120C can do 50 miles or 60 miles or 100 miles or whatever, that is only if you're flying at optimum altitude at like 60,000 feet or something, at Mach 2, and another guy is flying towards you at Mach 2 at 60,000 feet. Absolute maximum optimal. That never happens. Hence, those ranges that you see on Wikipedia and other military sites are all complete bollocks. Just like the maximum speed in an aircraft. They say the maximum speed in an aircraft of this aircraft is Mach 2.5, and it is. It's great. Completely realistic. But only if you've got very limited fuel, if you're exactly at Angels 37 and you've got no payload at all. In reality, you would never fly like that, so it's a completely irrelevant number, just like the range of a missile. So that's that explained. Right, maybe I'll do a movie about that at some point, showing the physics of it. But anyway, let's get back to work, shall we? You can see that we're going full burn, but because of our altitude is fairly low and we've got coordinates, we can only max out at Mach 1.125, thereabouts. Right, stop. Our aiming, our timing markers started. So you remember that little dotted circle around the target? That's now growing. That means we're getting towards the point where we can fire a missile. When it becomes, you'll see it'll become maximized at one point and then disappear. That will be when we're actually within a queue to fire, at which point we'll also get some fancy lights come up here. That'll be our cue to fire. It's a completely useless cue. Only a noob would use these lights or this timing marker. Like I said, you've really got to listen to my tactical briefings to know when to fire in a realistic engagement. But this, well, it is what it is. Also, we're getting near to firing. You see, we're almost within the maximum range to fire. And we've got to start thinking about our azimuth. Now, that aiming dot there is an aiming dot or a lead dot, so it allows us to put some lead on the missile. Like if you're firing a gun at a flanking target, you need to add lead. You've got to add lead to a missile as well. So what we've got to do, it's only a tiny bit lead in this case because the guy's only coming at 16 left. Or 160 left. So what we're going to do is turn the plane so that that turning dot gets exactly on the vector, heading vector of the aircraft. That's not the velocity vector of the aircraft, but it's the pointing direction of the aircraft, which is the top of that W there. We're going to get that on that. So let's go and do that now. Stand by. Stop. So we've got it directly on that dot there. That's telling us you want to give this lead to fire to get optimal missile performance. You can see that we're now within the maximum range limit, so we're good to shoot. We can see our shoot lights have come on here. It's just a peripheral kind of indicator to say that you are within range, just in case you weren't looking at these for some reason. Don't know, like you might be looking out there or something at something. Everything else is the same. You see that he's got a little star underneath him here. That means, again, once we're in range, that's another cue that we're within range. Again, disclaimer, these ranges are crap. Don't use them, but I guess, okay, I've talked about that already. You can see that I'm slightly rolled to the left here. Is that a problem? No, it's not. You can fire a missile at pretty much any aspect, ideally not upside down, but you can be rolled to the side, that's okay. As long as you're not actually in the process of rolling when you fire the missile, that's bad, but you are allowed to be at a certain roll. So this is good, we're about to fire. You can see it's telling us we've got, for some reason it's telling me 3 minutes. That's bugged, it shouldn't be saying that. And so we'll ignore that for a second. Let's prepare to fire. Fox 3, stop. Okay, then let's go and look at more information. We've got a max down to here. You can see that we've only got one aim Bravo left. That's gone to 1. The range this is from us, not the missile, is 7.7 m, 12 seconds. Now, hopefully I'm going to get this right. We shall see. I believe that's not time to impact. I believe that's the time at which our Fox 3 is going to turn on its own radar and become a self-seeking pitbull missile, i.e. when the missile goes pitbull, we shall see in a second. I've got if you want to know what that is, I've got a video about Fox 3 missiles and how they go pitbull in the educational section. Go and find that. But let's see what happens. Stand by. Off it goes. 9. I think we may have just missed the info. Bugger it. Okay, I made an error with that last one. I forgot to show you something, so I've just found another target here. Pretty much the same details. I'm about to fire my last AMRAAM Bravo. Stand by. Right, there it is. So because I'm firing so close to this target, because it's so slow, we don't get much time to analyse it. So this here is the timer at which it thinks it's going to hit the target. It's wrong, so ignore it. With this particular type of missile, I guess. Here is more important. We've got a countdown to when the missile goes pitbull. Like I said, I've got a video about that. Now, because we're so close to the target, we've only got 1 second before the missile goes pitbull. That would usually be about 10 seconds or 15 seconds. It will count down to 0. When it goes 0, the missile will go pitbull. At that point, it's no longer connected to our ship. Our ship is no longer talking to us anymore. It's on its own and going for the target. So let's see that quickly as that T1 goes and disappears. So it's now gone pitbull. It's now changing to a mic. So this is now the timer so ignore that. That's irrelevant because this is a Fox 3 missile. This is now a timer for when the missile it believes is going to hit the target. It may or may not be accurate because we are no longer in contact with the missile, I believe, but let's see. There it goes. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is inaccurate. I don't know why it was inaccurate, but I'm pretty sure that was right. So it was Tango until it goes to pitbull, and then Mike is the countdown from pitbull to hit. So anyway, that's that. That's Fox 3. Let's go and shoot a Fox 1 and see what the difference is. Stand by. Okay, we now have a Fox 1. So this is a missile that is guided completely by our own ship. The missile does not have a radar itself. So what does that mean? First of all, it means you can't use TWS mode to lock on here. You have to use full STT. If you don't know what that means, go and watch my radar video. Right, other than that, pretty much standard details. So we've got range 9.9 miles. There's our hostile. There's his direction 150 right. T-minus 20 seconds from firing to hitting the target, and it should be accurate this time with a Fox 1. That is M. That is the code for the AIM 7, and there's 2 of them, and that's it. So stand by. I will fire. I think that was missile away. There's our countdown. Let's see how accurate it is this time. No, scratch that. There's the countdown. T there. 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! The countdown was a bit inaccurate again, but there you go. And that's that. Simple as that. So that was a Fox 1. Pretty much the same information there. I get the feeling those are inaccurate, those things, because they don't account for if the hostile is avoiding. If the hostile avoids, obviously the missile has to take a further travel, and that's probably why those countdowns aren't accurate. They just go on the information at when the missile was fired. Right, nothing much to speak about BVR now. That's BVR done. You can't use a Fox 2 with BVR in this aeroplane, so next we're going to get in a close dogfight and go and we'll use this missile again, but we'll do it in a close dogfight. Let me go and find a hostile. Let's go and put ourselves on vertical scan line mode. Let's try and find somewhere. Let me know if you can see someone, because I can't see anyone. Right, I see a guy. Look to our 1 o'clock level, and I'm going to get him so that my line touches him. There it is, it's touched him, and that is him locked up. Essentially then it's all the same information. Range 2.5, we've got our range indicators here, we've got our dot here, our aiming dot, time till impact. Everything's the same, so we just fire a missile and he is a dead man. Stand by. Impact 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! That's that guy down. Lovely job. Next we're going to find another one and use bore mode, boresight mode. Stand by. If you have trouble spotting aircraft in DCS, then fly below where you think they are. It's always easier to see looking up than it is looking down. I see something. Look at that dot. You see it? That's one. Put him in the. There you go. I put him in the boresight circle, and it's picked him up. It's got a radar lock on him, and simple as that. We're ready to go. Got a couple of aim 120 Charlies, 2 of them. Everything else is the same as we've talked about. Let's see if we can get any more information on the pitbull marker today. This time. So let me slow down to make it harder for this missile to fire. Stand by. And Fox 3, aim 120C. So it's M16. It appears to have already gone pitbull. So it basically went pitbull as soon as it left the rail for some reason. Will it actually reach him? I don't know. It's got no more rocket motor left, so it's just got kinetic energy now. Because it's such a slow moving target, there's a good chance it'll catch him up. It's not going to. His angle of attack's getting higher, scrubbing more energy off as it's going. It's not going to get there. Not going to do it. And it's dropped out of the sky. So that showed that our maximum aiming marker was, our maximum aiming range was correct that time. Right, what have we got left? All we've got left is longitudinal aiming mode to show off, which will show off with a Fox 2. So stand by for that. So there's our buddy. Let's unlock him. Let's go to longitudinal aiming mode. There it is. I believe longitudinal aiming mode will come up as standard as soon as you select a Fox 2 anyway. So we've got to go now, put him inside our seeker head bore and see if we can get a lock on him. His engines will be quite cold because he is a passenger liner. Now we're going to find him again. I've lost him now. Stand by. So we've got him in the bore there, but the IR seeker head can't pick him up because he's too cold and too far away. So we're going to burn. I'm just going to turn that sound off for a minute and move. Oh. So we've got to catch up a bit. Okay, let's try there. No, still too cold. No lock. How about now? There we go. So you'll be able to get real close because he's got cold engines and it's really designed for fighter engines, that kind of thing. So we've got a lock. Now you can tell we've got a lock because you've heard the change in tone. That means fire, fire, fire. And we've probably got our alarm warning lights up here. Yep, they're saying fire, fire, fire. Ranging info. I don't think it has any ranging info here for Sidewinder because it's such a close range weapon. So you just have to memorize these things. There's well, I won't go through it now, but there's a whole spectrum of ranges you've got to learn. And let me slow down now. Now if I get too far away from the bore, it'll unlock him, so I need to get him bored again. I'm not sure in this plane if you can uncage the bore so that it can follow the plane around the HUD. I never personally do it myself, but some planes you can uncage that bore. Simple as that. You fire right there, like that, and you've got him. He's the last plane left on my map, so I don't want to kill him because we've still got to show off the guns, which are my favourite. So that's Fox 2, you just fire that missile and off it goes, and it's Fox 2, so it seeks itself, completely independent of the mothership based on IR radiation. Next, guns, my favourite, and more importantly radar guns. Well, let's do non-radar guns first, so stand by. I've got to brake first, I'm going to overshoot this guy. Brake on. Guns armed. So, you can see I've got this nice fancy gun aimer here. There's my gun aimer. I've turned my radar off, so that means I'm on just static gun. That means the gun just fires. There's no fancy aiming reticle or anything like that. It just fires where you point the plane. So let's point the plane somewhere and fire the gun. And you can see this plane has the best gun in the world. It's called the Vulcan. It's essentially a multi-barrel shotgun. And you see it spreads those bullets out in a massive shotgun fan. Which makes it incredibly effective. It's not as powerful as a 30mm, say, flanker gun, but it's much better because you can just spray and pray and hit almost anything. It's still powerful enough to knock out fighters easily. Excellent gun. Loads of ammo as well. The ammo counter is there. You see 833 rounds. So yeah, cool. Now, so this mode is what you would use if your radar was broken, or you can't get the lock, or you're fighting something on the ground. Now let's try radar guns, where it calculates your gun trajectory. Stand by. Radar on. Gun selected. Now you can see it's giving us something a bit more fancy. Now, this cross is where the gun is aiming. So whatever I do, the gun is aiming there, because the gun is fixed with bolts and stuff to the chassis. It'll always aim at that cross. Here is the predictor. So the predictor reticle. You see it's offset from this gun at the moment. That's because it's giving us some information. I'll exaggerate it in a minute to show it off better. But what you want to do is basically get the target at the centre of this circle, which is not the same place that the gun is firing, because the gun wants to give lead. And then if I get the hostile in the circle here, that will calculate my lead for the target and make sure we can hit the target at any angle. We've also got a bit of information here. You see this quarter circle here. This increases as we get closer. So if there was just a tiny bit of marker here like that, we're at maximum range of the gun. And if we come all the way around here, we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer. If the circle is completely full on the inside here, you're super close and you can easily hit them. So I'm going to have to back off. So I'm going to have to do some maneuvers. See, we've got plenty of vertical radar slew, so we can always keep him locked. Right, let's stall out on purpose now, so we can... God, he's going slow. Doing these low-speed maneuvers is excellent training for fighter pilot stuff. Especially in a virtual fighter pilot, because it doesn't matter if you die. So we're stalling the plane on purpose here. We're stalling. We're falling down to our death. Still falling. Still falling. Ah. Ah. Burners on. Neutralise the alpha. And now let's go and test our gun. So look, now he's turning. Look at the lead. Can you see the lead there? So that is where the gun is actually firing, because it's bolted to the chassis. Here is our lead indicator. We've got to get him in the middle of that, and then fire our guns, and then we'll hit him. Stand by. Whee! Missed him. Oh, there it is, sorry. I was out of range before. So, gotta get him. Gotta get him. Ready? He's in range, and... fire! I missed him. You twat. Yeah, I got him. I am notoriously bad at aiming with a gun, but you saw how it worked there. So our gun was firing here, but the hostile was actually about there, and the indicator was indicating there, and that's how the lead works. So it makes it really easy to shoot guys down, especially with that shotgun effect. And he's down, bless him. There we go. I've showed all of the HUD modes. I think just about everything that's indicated on the HUD within reason. All of the weapon types that you get for the F-15. You get the gun, you get the Fox 2, the Fox 1, the Fox 3. You don't get any. This is the C model, so you don't get any air-to-ground weapons. That's about it really. You get countermeasures, chaff and flare. Let's put a couple of them out. Chaff, boom, flare, boom. Countermeasures, very simple. I'm sure you know what they will do. You don't need to explain it. Right. That was jolly good stuff. Now, unfortunately, I've got to go and do all the other airplanes, which is going to take ages, but I hope you enjoyed that. And We'll see you later.